Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. Okay, it's not even funny. I know it's not funny.
It is.
But it's Thursday afternoon, and it was a long meeting last night, and it was not even a funny meeting. But you know what happens to me sometimes after a long meeting like that, and then a long day, and
Get the laughing.
sometimes I start getting a laughing fit, because what else am I going to do?
You got to let it out somewhere.
It's better to laugh than cry.
You got it.
Okay. At the board's meeting last night, I can't go through every little thing. And Gino, I noticed you left at your usual time.
I do 2 hours because my lease is only up. If I don't get back and put it on, it goes off TV at 11 o'clock.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. Gino left at 8 and we were only halfway done at that point.
Oh my God.
Anyway, here's what is going on.
Why did it last so long, Libby?
Well, we had several long things.
That was one long discussion about liquor fees.
That was a long discussion, yes. So for the next few weeks, we're going to be making an announcement about town meeting, 2020 annual town meeting. Mark your calendars. It's on Saturday, April 4th. We're hoping to get it all done in one day. If you are interested in submitting a citizen warrant article, there is a packet available for you. It is online on the town website. It is in our office, and it is in the town clerk's office. Please get a copy of it and look through it. Town council will be available next Wednesday, October 16th from 2 to 4 here at the town building, and on Thursday the 17th from 9 to 11. If you want to ask him some questions about warrant articles, he's available for that.
And he'll be available after as well.
Not really.
No? You want to have it together now?
Well, no, you can talk over your ideas now. That's the purpose of it. Talk over your ideas and get some advice now, and then you could write it if you want to.
I got it.
Meanwhile, the submittal deadline for citizen warrant articles is Monday, November 18th. Let me double check that. Monday, November 18th at 4 o'clock. Okay. So all this information is in the packet that I just mentioned.
All right.
All right. So I'm just going to go through the higher points of the agenda.
Well, go.
Okay,
there was talk about the liquor license.
Yeah, no, I'll get to that. So there's a couple things that had to be put off because of the weather. Our consultants or the people couldn't get here. So one of those was Valet Park of America. This is the group that's been doing valet parking in the downtown area for the last several years, and we had to do something new this year because we did not have use of the National Grid property at Candle Street. So they tried out a pilot program of valet parking in the town pier lot and also out here in front of the town building. They previously had an operation out here in the evenings, and it was extended to be during the day with a little bit more parking here. Anyway, they were going to come and give us an assessment of their program, but they couldn't make it. So they're coming on November 6th. We also had a sewer rate study presentation. We've been doing a sewer rate study for about a year and a half now. Sorry, sewer users, and there are going to be more sewer users as time goes on, but rates are going to need to increase in order to keep up with expenditures, not just for operations that are expanding because of sewer expansion projects, but also because of sewer infrastructure projects. Anyway, the rate study was supposed to be presented, and the consultants couldn't come, so we're doing it next week. Okay, so we had a couple public hearings. One had to do with charter limo and tour vehicle regulations, and this basically had to do, for the most part, with the number of vehicles in each of those three categories. Long story short.
Limos?
Limos, charter, tour.
Okay.
Okay, they all are a little bit different.
A lot of people want to continue.
Apparently, a lot of people want to do it. So there's going to be 10 licenses available in each of those categories. There's already licenses issued in each category, and some of them may be closer to 10, like there might be 9 issued in one of those categories, but 6 in another. So we're going to make sure there's 10 licenses, and people on the waiting list can apply for the license. So that.
How do you get on the waiting list?
You just submit your name to licensing at police department.
All right.
But if your name is already on there, it can't go on again until you maybe get a license, and then you can put your name on again.
You can have 2 licenses?
Potentially. But
oh, I see. But you can't have the same license for the same kind of car. So.
Well, you can't be on the waiting list. Let's put it this way. You can't put your name on the waiting list twice.
No, but can you have 2? Like, can you? If you get a limo license, you're going to get a tour license next.
You could.
Why would you need 2 limo licenses?
I don't know. You want to do 2 limo operations.
One license only allows you to have 1 car?
Well, that's another thing. See, this gets complicated. The charter tour limo regs allow a licensee to have multiple vehicles under one license. That is a practice that was happening with taxi licenses for a long time, and it was ended years ago. So I'm not even totally sure how it got into the tour charter limo regs. Probably because somebody somehow had more vehicles, and so they were amended to allow for that. But it's not necessarily fair, because then this is why some of the people on the waiting list haven't moved up. Because if you're on the waiting list and you come up, if there's no license available, you just say, well, I'm going to add a vehicle to my license. It shouldn't work that way. I don't think. So anyway, these changes need to be.
Who's doing the changes?
We need to redone.
Who's working on that?
The licensing agent, Amy Baxter. And she's going to need help.
She's going to put that on the front of the pile now, to get that done.
Yeah.
Because isn't that something that should have been done a long time ago? I mean,
probably.
You mentioned something about it.
Yeah, I did. And it is something that should have been done a long time ago. But as I also mentioned, this is always a source of confusion in towns.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
We will, God willing, get that straightened out. Then we had a public hearing about liquor license fees. Both the existing fees and whether or not the board was going to increase them, and also some new fees, like for a new license, a totally new license. You will now have to pay a fee for that. I think we ended up at $2,000. There's also going to be an application fee. I forget how much that was. Maybe it was $200. So I don't even know if I don't have right here at my fingertips what the fees were increased to, but they will need to be advertised in the newspaper. And the board had a lot of discussion about this, and they heard from a lot of the licensees that were present.
Yeah, they were.
And I think, so they did a more modest increase than what was being recommended, and what was recommended was based on prior discussions by the board and prior boards even. So I think they wanted to do a modest increase, because also maybe one of the members suggested that perhaps annually we ought to be increasing the fees by a certain percentage, like the cost of living or the CPI, Consumer Price Index, something like that.
That way you don't have to keep doing this, right?
Then you don't have to necessarily keep doing it. Exactly. So the board said, okay, in the spring, probably-ish, we're going to revisit this again with some of these things that have come up at the meeting. But in the meantime, they did some modest increases. I think I would call them modest. All right, then we had a discussion about paid parking. Okay, so Gino, I was exhausted by this time. But I'll try to summarize this. We've been talking about paid parking for a long time, years. It comes up, people say we don't want it, some people say we do want it, nobody can agree on how it should be laid out. So the board now has a strategic plan with focus areas. One of the focus areas is transportation. Under each focus area, there are specific goals. One of the goals under the focus area of transportation is paid parking in the downtown area. There's more to the goal than that, but that is the bottom line. So, town admin has been looking at how are we going to set this up. We've looked at what some other towns do, specifically Barnstable. They are a similar area of parking. They have their parking in different areas of their town, but overall the size of their parking operation is about what we are looking at. So we've learned a lot from them, and fast forward to last night, we gave the board a report. We gave them a report in August about where we were with paid parking implementation for next summer of 2020. And we were trying to pinpoint what the decision points are for the board to make. And they are things like, what are the rates going to be? And we had some recommendations based on our research and just sort of knowledge of the town. So what are the fees going to be? Will there be a period of free parking before the paying kicks in? What area should it be? What should the hours of it be? How long should it be during the season? Should it be, I'm making this up a bit, but in the summer, should it be 8 to 11 o'clock at night, and then lesser hours in the shoulder seasons? Or should there be a period of time when we don't do it at all? Things like that. So the board had a lot of discussion about all of those areas. And we had some public input also. There were some members of the public there who commented. And I don't think anybody was there. This wasn't a public hearing, so people may not have totally paid attention to it, out in the general public about this, but nobody was there who said, we can't do this, it's a terrible idea. But I have heard some people say that out in the public. So anyway, we're proceeding on down the road of paid parking for next summer, and the idea is that we would potentially phase it, start in the core area first, and there were some concerns about that expressed by the board, but there is a capacity issue, resource-wise and financially, as to how much we can bite off at the very beginning, and we know that when you first implement a program, there are going to be bugs in it, so we would like to try to contain it as much as possible, work out the bugs, and then expand it once we have it mastered. So the board is going to have a public hearing on November 6th about paid parking. We'll probably update our report a little bit and try to consolidate what some of the board's and the public's concerns were from last night and put that forward. But it'll be advertised in the newspaper and put it online, and so.
Did you say a date?
Yeah, November 6th.
Okay, good. Now, would people be paying parking in parking lots as well?
No. Except, yes and no.
Okay.
In the downtown, there's the town lot on Washington Street, and there's also the Silver Street lot on Silver Street, and we are not recommending that either one of those at this time be paid. We also have the lot out at Fort Fairgrounds. We are recommending at this time that there be a charge out there for commercial vehicles only, not residential. So if you work downtown, you would be able to park there for free, or at the town lot for free. But another idea is I'm trying to just give a summary here, but the other idea is to develop a shuttle system that is a direct, like, commuter shuttle sort of a thing that nonstop from Fort Fairgrounds right downtown. So then there's concerns with that about just how long is that going to take based on traffic congestion in the summer. So maybe if more people are taking the shuttle and not driving, there would be less of that, theoretically.
And so, as far as paid parking, you'd have like the first hour free or something?
Well, a possibility, this is one of the decision points for the board, you'd have an hour free, and then up to 4 hours, you'd be able to park downtown, and you'd pay a rate for the next hours, and you'd do it on an app. And there was some discussion about an hour's too long or an hour's too short, and could we retain the 15-minute spots and the 30-minute spots? That just gets complicated from an enforcement point of view and the administering of it. It can be done. It just might be a little more complicated to set up. So we're definitely looking at that.
Well, you want to encourage people to come downtown, but then get out of there.
Right.
And then you also want them to be able to do what they need to do. So if they want to have a lunch,
yes, of course,
I mean, an hour's perfect.
Yeah.
Basically, you get
dinner might not be.
Move it on.
Yeah.
And then the restaurant's happy because they're moving them out and getting more people in the seats.
So more on all of this on November 6th. At the board's meeting next week, the agenda is not totally 100% final yet, but it looks like we are going to have a preliminary review of 2020 annual town meeting warrant articles that the board would potentially sponsor. I keep a running list of things that come up throughout the year, and so I'm going to give them a little update on that. We've got the sewer rate study that I mentioned. The energy coordinator is going to come in and give us an update on the electric aggregation program. It's called Nantucket Power Choice.
Is that the battery?
No. That's the your electric bill. We're part of a municipal aggregate, and you're either in it or you're on your own. I think most people probably are in it at this point, and there's a savings if we're all in the same program. So she's going to give an update about that. Okay, we have a couple other things on the agenda, but I think we're going to have to put them off because we were at our meeting too late last night, and we can't be there after a certain period of time where people just don't.
3 hours.
They're not productive anymore.
Really.
So anyway. There's some more stuff on the agenda. We're going to give the board a staffing study implementation update. We did a staffing study last year, and we're going to give them an update about it, and also an update about the strategic plan. But I think we're going to have to put those a little out. Because we also want to, one of the members wants to discuss a beach issue. And this has to do with a property owner in Nantucket who has roped off his beach, which he owns to a certain point, and there is a concern as to whether or not that is a Nantucket tradition. It's generally considered. Yes.
It always has been.
I don't disagree at all. In this instance, I'm sure that the property owner will perhaps be at the meeting, and he had a letter in the paper a few weeks ago about why he did this, and he has some very valid reasons about why he did this. So I might as well say this. Yeah. There's going to be another discussion because
Is that next weekend?
Next week, the 16th.
Oh, good.
There's going to be another discussion about, oh boy, this is a third rail. This is a third rail, the leash law.
Based on?
Well, based on irresponsible people.
Pooping on the
It's
beach?
not just that, it's the bad behavior of people and their pets.
I haven't seen any bad behavior with pets.
I have. Absolutely.
Where
in the
did you
summer
see it?
at the beach.
Oh.
We're mostly talking, I think we're mostly talking about the beach. I've seen it repeatedly. Some owners are terrible about letting their dogs off the leash in a crowded beach.
Yeah, you can't do it.
And there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that.
You just can't do that.
In any event, we have a leash law that actually says your dog is supposed to be leashed on public property. Off of your own property, your dog is supposed to be leashed, basically, is what it says. So, we love dogs here on Nantucket. Well, for the most part, I think. I have a dog. You had a dog. And we like to run our dogs off the leash. And probably about 90% of the time, that's fine. But we saw an issue earlier in the year with dog interaction that went bad. And we've got this situation now. So it's bringing to light, do we need to, we obviously can't count on some people to be responsible with their dogs. I'm sorry, but we can't.
That's a good one, though. That's going to be that's a good talking point, question. How do people feel about the leash law?
Oh, well, I think some people feel as though there isn't one, but
yeah,
there is one. But it is largely not, well, yeah. So enforcing it more is also an issue, because then it means we need people to get out there and enforce it instead of doing other things, or we need more people to do that. So there's a lot of issues with this. But the point of the agenda item is more to do with the beach access, public access to beaches issue.
Right.
So we're going to be talking about that. And in other town news, we are working on starting to develop our fiscal 21 budget, fiscal 21 capital projects, town meeting warrant articles, and got a lot going on with, we're about to have a lot going on with collective bargaining. A lot of union contracts are up in June, and we need to start negotiating them throughout the winter, fall, winter, spring. So we're starting that process. And we got a lot of solid waste issues going on.
We do.
Long-term planning wise.
Yeah, right, long-term.
Yeah, plastics ban. Well, there's a ton of things going on.
That's true. That plastics ban is going to be kicking in next June.
Yep.
I was just reading about this, these guys in Peru that make plates and bowls out of banana leaves now.
Oh.
And they hold hot food.
Interesting.
And you don't have to tear down the tree. Because when you go and get the bananas, you get the leaves from the bananas.
Can you eat them?
Use those.
Could you eat your plate when you're done with it?
But wouldn't that be a good idea? I mean, that's the kind of stuff we need.
I know. I've heard other things like that.
Yeah.
That it's very compostable.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, we can do this.
Yeah, we could do it. It just takes some behavior changes
It
and
does.
it's a lot of just getting used to things.
Yes. It's all habit.
I know. I didn't like my phone at first, but now I'm used to it.
See?
I vowed I would never get used to it, and I hated it. And
Some people
I tried to
hate
give
going
it
to the
back.
gym.
I still have my old phone around here somewhere, and I insisted that I wanted it, and they said, no, you can't have that old
And
thing.
they gave you that?
You're going to get used to it. And guess what? I'm used to
You're
it.
used to it. It's like going to the gym.
Just get used to it.
Once you get used to it, you like going.
You just keep going. well.
And it was, remember when recycling was like when we first started doing it here, people were like, this is ridiculous, what do we have to do this for?
I know.
And once you get used to it, you feel kind of like, you know what, I think I will take that little one plastic, in my car, that one plastic piece to the plastic bin.
Or if you find a recyclable item in your trash that, like, say a teenager put in there, or somebody else in your family, you take it out.
You'll dig it out and you'll say, I'm gonna dig it out. It's funny.
I know.
Anyway.
Okay, thank you very much. See you next time.